Honourable members, we'd like to start this sitting, a historic one, with prayers. So we'll now take prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favour upon this youth impact parliament. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the Executive Director of the movement. Endow members of the Ugandan Youth Impact Parliament with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labours of this youth parliament, the interests and wishes of members may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of this youth parliament, where as it might be, a fraternity of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbour, a fraternity of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a fraternity of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving. Fraternity of peace, where the youth parliament shall rest on the will of its members, allow for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speak the beauty of Youth Impact Parliament, Ghana, Uganda, and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, I wish to welcome you all to the first sitting of the pilot parliament of Youth Impact Parliament Uganda chapter. This chapter is obviously based in Uganda. I want to display the order paper for the attention of honourable members. So this is the order paper on your screen right now. That is the order paper on your screen. So we'll proceed with the next item. Communication from founders. I am Jones Amegashie-Viglo, the founder of this entire Youth Impact Initiative, and I have my co-founders with me over here, Amanor D Narh and Raymond Elikem Agbo. When at 3 would tell us themselves, and item 7 they will speak on each of the branches of the movement that they are in charge of. Today is a historic day, as I said. This movement was started in April 2021, and amazingly, we are having the first pilot sitting for our Uganda chapter. The entire initiative is very amazed about this happening, and it goes down in the history book as 7th November being the first sitting of an international discourse with our colleagues from Uganda. So on this note, I want to welcome you all to this sitting. Right after item 4, the speaker nominee for the Uganda chapter will take a seat and preside over the sitting. So on this note, I welcome you all. We'll move to item 3 on the order paper, which is introduction of members present. We'll start, and then from there, we'll have each of my deputies introduce themselves, and then we'll go straight to our colleagues from Uganda, starting by the speaker nominee, deputy speaker, and any other Uganda colleague will equally introduce themselves. I'm Jones Amegashie-Viglo. I'm a youth activist residing in Ghana, currently the Executive Director of Youth Impact Movement and Speaker of Youth Impact Parliament Ghana chapter. So let's have Amanor introduce himself, and then we'll have Raymond. Yes, sorry, let's have Mr. Raymond Elikem Agbo introduce himself second, and then Amanor third, and then we'll have Leonidus, and then Kawuki. Yes, Honourable Elikem, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the House. or he's not active. If he's not active, let's have Amanor, and then right after him, whenever Elikem is active, you speak to us. So Amanor, please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And then I also thank our colleagues from Uganda for joining us here this evening. Apparently, we are joining you, but in the same way you've joined us. Even before I proceed, I don't know whether they can give me one Ugandan name so that I add it to my name as of this evening. So that going forward, anytime we have a meeting of this nature, I can introduce myself using a Ugandan name. So if you can help me with one Ugandan name so that I can add it to my name. Is it Kawuki was well, sorry. Can anybody help me with any of his the Ugandan name? Okay, so that just by the way.
So actually Kawuki Wasswa. That's the name.
Okay. Yeah, so I needed one Ugandan name so that I can add it to my name.
I beg your pardon?
I've been of the argument that I want one Ugandan name so that I can add it to my name.
Okay. Okay, you can take mine. It's okay, no problem. Wasswa.
I can take your Kawuki Wasswa.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
definitely.
Honourable members, I respond to Amanor D Wasswa. So henceforth, this is my name. You take note of it. So I'm a student engineer as well as an activist, constitutional and youth activist as well, and then volunteer. Apparently, I'm the deputy executive director for the entire movement and the majority leader for the parliament. It's important that we have you here on board, and I'm very enthusiastic about parliamentary proceedings. Apparently, I was a former speaker for the Student Representative Council Parliament, and it was fun. And as Joe spoke to me about the Uganda version of the Youth Impact Parliament, I was happy. So, honorable members, once again, my name is Amanor D Wasswa. Honorable Kawuki, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Honourable Amanor. Honourable Elikem, are you active to introduce yourself now? If Elikem is not active, we'll move to Leonidus, our speaker nominee for our Uganda chapter.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Director of the Youth Impact Parliament.
Director of Youth Impact Movement, for the record.
Okay, that is Ghana, and at the same time, the Director, Youth Impact Parliament, Uganda chapter. I also welcome members, and I would like once again to inform you that I'm using Honourable Kato Chibuga's phone because mine has totally failed to connect. I think that one has no problem. Then, to my introduction, I'm by names of Leonidus Asiimwe. In bracket, you can call me Chris Jr. Yeah, I come from Kashongi Constituency, that is Chiruhura district, western part of Uganda. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm so happy to be the speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament.
Thank you very much, Leonidus. We'll take Kawuki, his introduction.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Director. Good evening, honorable members. My name is Kawuki Wasswa, and I come from Uganda. I'm really glad to be part of this youth platform or youth parliament. And I was chosen to be the deputy speaker, though I don't really know much about what a deputy speaker does. Hope I will learn along the way, but I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Don't worry, we'll be doing an orientation after this sitting. And we have done a lot of orientations that youth impact movement is one that keeps records very keenly. So whatever we do is always on air. So do not worry, would guide you and then you'd reach there. So on this note, I would like us to move straight to item 3, which is the oath to speaker and members. So I don't know how oaths are being taken in Uganda. I think it's taken on personal notes. So I'll just display the oath and then you read it out. And then from there, I believe you have taken your oath. Unlike in Ghana, there's a speaker that reads out the oath and then the members reiterate it after him. But I'm very sure in Southern Africa, members take their oath on personal notes. So we'll just go by that. Let me just display the oath and then you just go by that. So we'll allow Deputy Speaker to take the oath first. And then after Deputy Speaker takes his oath, then we'll allow Speaker to take his oath. So I hope you can see the screen very well. Is it clear for you?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So you have to sorry. Yeah, so you have to repeat. You just have to read it out with your name and the position and then all those. And I think after that, so help me God, we declare you per your portfolio and then we are good to go. So Deputy Speaker, kindly take your oath and then we'll proceed from there.
Oh, okay. I, Kawuki Wasswa, having been appointed to the position of Deputy Speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament, what else? Do in the name of the Almighty God swear solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Youth Parliament as by the law established, that I will uphold the integrity of the Parliament and youth and the youth whatever.
YIM.
Yeah, I just didn't understand. Okay, that I will faithfully and consciously discharge my duties as a Deputy Speaker of YIP and uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the standing orders of the Parliament and Constitution of the movement, that should I at any time break this oath of office, I shall submit myself to the laws of the Youth Parliament and suffer the penalty for it. So help me God.
On this note, I declare Kawuki Wasswa, Member of Parliament for Kampala Constituency, as Deputy Speaker of the Uganda Pilot Parliament of Youth Impact Parliament. Congratulations. So now we'll take the Speaker nominees to take his oath. So Honourable Leonidus, please read your oath and insert your name and position over there.
Okay. I, Leonidus Asiimwe, having been appointed the Speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Youth Parliament as by law established, that I will uphold the integrity of the Parliament and YIM, that I will faithfully and consciously discharge my duties as the Speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament and uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the standing orders of the Parliament and Constitution of the movement, that should die at any time break this oath of office, I shall submit myself to the laws of the Youth Parliament and suffer the penalty for it. So help me God.
Honourable members, I humbly declare Leonidus Asiimwe, Member of Parliament for Kashongi Constituency, as the Speaker of the Pilot Parliament of Youth Impact Parliament, Uganda. Congratulations to both of you. On this note, since there is now a substantive Speaker for the Pilot Parliament of Uganda, YIP, I now invite him to take the chair and preside over the sitting from item 5 on the order paper. Thank you.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Director. I'm sorry, I did not get you clearly.
Yeah, so now that you have been sworn in, you are the one to preside, no more me. So you coordinate the sitting.
Okay, thank you very much. I take this chance to welcome each and everyone who is present in today's sitting, being the first meeting of the Youth Impact Parliament, Uganda chapter. So I take the honor to welcome each and everyone and to thank you all for having taken time and attended this sitting. Mr. Director and the entire House, I can see we are still few. As I can say, it is well seen, but I hope for the best. Meanwhile, as we make clear preparations for our Parliament. Without wasting much of our time, as I can commence, we have got, anyway, before I go more further, I would like to assure the House, Mr. Director, honorable members, that I have accepted, like I have sworn in, I've taken the oath, I've accepted to be the Speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament, Ugandan chapter. So for that, I accept without any enforcement. I accept without any act of bribe. So it's me, it's not any other person. I do accept in the name of the Almighty God, and I do accept in front of you all. I know and I assure you, you will be my witness.
Yeah.
As we can see on the order paper, we have got the commencement of the Youth Impact Parliament business. As per item 6, we have profile of Youth Impact Movement by the Executive Director of the Youth Impact, is it management? You can explain to us, Mr. Director, the fact that the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's important that we explain the entire concept for clarity, and that is what item 6 on the order paper seeks to do. So I've prepared the profile and I plead for time to read it out for clarity. And I think after that, Mr. Speaker, we can take questions. So on that note, I proceed. Profile of Youth Impact Movement by the Executive Director. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Deputy Directors, Deputy Executive Directors of the movement, and ladies and gentlemen watching, a good day to you all. Youth Impact Movement is a movement that is actually operational in Ghana, but it is actually a Pan-African movement. That is how come today we have colleagues from Uganda joining us. It was founded on 22nd of April 2021 by Jones Amegashie-Viglo and co-founded by Mr. Raymond Elikem Agbo and Amanor Narh. The founding of the movement was precipitated by our frustration of the inability of African countries to achieve good governance and prosecute African unity. We are also appalled by the type of leadership that African countries have exhibited. Over the years in their post-colonial administration. And we feel there is a compelling need to inculcate values of patriotism, honesty, transparency, hard work, selflessness, and dedication to duty in the youth as future leaders of their countries for championing collaborative participatory democracy through reflective interrogation of the challenges confronting attempts at attaining good governance and African unity. The movement seeks to promote the achievement of good governance through building capacity for the youth in parliamentary democracy. YIM seeks to cultivate a new breed of leadership that will put their nation over and above their individual interests and fight for the attainment of good governance and establishment of a Pan-African unity through country-based African parliamentary movements and networking. Youth Impact Parliament will serve as a training ground for character building and training for Ghanaian and other African youth in leadership in their various countries. Whilst Youth Impact Foundation will serve as a fundraising platform for the movement and other humanitarian activities. State of the problem. Mr. Speaker, African youth of today are disappointed by the type of governance and frustrations with poverty of leadership, corruption being exhibited in Ghana by most African leaders. Evidence of corruption, mismanagement of resources, abuse of human rights, ethnic cleansing, civil strife, poor health and education facilities, decaying infrastructures, energy crisis, and lack of collectively shared vision for their various countries have become a lot of most African governments. Even though individual African leaders such as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings of Ghana, Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, and John Magufuli of Tanzania have demonstrated good faith and commitment to good governance and the promotion of African unity. There still remains much work to be accomplished. For African countries to depart from their track record of poor governance, there is a need to have a new breed of leadership in Africa. This is what Youth Impact Movement seeks to accomplish by making the movement a forum for capacity building for youth in good governance. Aspects of this capacity building include character training in integrity, honest, public policy, provision of relevant education, quality health care delivery, democratic participation and constitutional studies, public speaking skills, communication skills, equal opportunity and gender studies, social values and norms, and the development of patriotic attitudes. Vision. Youth Impact Movement seeks to become a virtual Pan-African Parliament of Excellence through Youth Impact Parliament in character training for good governance and democratic values for youth in Africa in general. Mission. Youth Impact Movement is to ensure the cultivation of a new breed of African youth leaders with integrity and incorruptible character for national development and achievement of good governance and African unity. Objectives. Mr. Speaker, 1. To create an enabling environment for the youth and building their character in integrity and selflessness. 2. To create opportunities for exposure and parliamentary procedure for democratic youth leadership. 3. To serve as a training ground for the youth in the act of public speaking. 4. To create linkages with parliamentarians for expanding the frontiers of parliamentary knowledge, skills, and attitude among African youth. Mr. Speaker, kindly allow me to speak on the movement, the parliament, and the foundation in order to clear the confusion. Mr. Speaker, there can only be one movement in the entire world. The movement is only one. The movement is only one. However, the movement has two branches. It has the parliamentary branch, which is Youth Impact Parliament, and then the foundation branch, the humanitarian branch, which is Youth Impact Foundation. So the branches can have country-based chapters. The branches can have country-based chapters. But for the movement, it can only be one. The movement can only be one. So as of now, the movement is only one. The foundation is one. But today, we now have two chapters of the parliament, of which we have the Ghanaian chapter, which is the main chapter, and then the Uganda chapter. I'm hoping that very soon we'll open the Kenyan chapter and the Nigerian chapter. Hopefully we'll get there. Mr. Speaker, each branches have their own leadership and identity. However, to be part of a branch, one has to first of all be part of the movement. That was why I requested that members aspiring to be part of our Uganda branch should equally fill the form for the movement. The parliament has a tenure of 1 year for its members and leaders, whilst the supporters and collaborators of the foundation have no tenure. Mr. Speaker, Youth Impact Parliament is the flagship project of the movement, whilst the foundation is the humanitarian project. Social media presence. Mr. Speaker, Youth Impact Movement has a Facebook page and a Facebook group and a WhatsApp group to represent its social media presence. Youth Impact Foundation has a Facebook and a WhatsApp group to represent its social presence. But Youth Impact Parliament has a lot of WhatsApp groups, a Facebook group, a Facebook page, an Instagram account, a Twitter account, a Telegram group, and a YouTube channel to resound its media presence. This is due to the fact that the Parliament, as I said, is the flagship project of the movement. Membership. Mr. Speaker, membership of the movement is open to all nationalities. Anyone who wishes to join the movement can access the Google form link, which is on our social media handles. Immediately after submitting the form, you are accredited to associate yourself as a member of the movement. There are no cost implications. You don't pay any money to be part of the movement. It's totally free. For the parliament, due to its yearly tenure, it is being dissolved after 1 year. However, applicants to be part of it will have to apply So just for clarity, the Ghanaian branch, as of the time we started last year, there was no filling of forms to be part of the parliament. We're just looking around to recruit members. I think the Deputy Director for Parliamentary Affairs will speak more about how we started the parliamentary branch. But for the Ghanaian branch, which is now in its second parliamentary year, has constituency representation introduced to it. Amazingly for us, the Uganda branch from East Pilot Parliament already has constituency representation. So the Deputy Director in charge of Parliamentary Affairs will speak more on the Parliament. Leadership of the movement. Mr. Speaker, the movement is led by directors and it has the Board of Directors as its decision-making body. These are the directorship of the movement. We have an executive director, a deputy executive director in charge of humanitarian affairs, a deputy executive director in charge of parliamentary affairs, an administrative director, and a finance director. The board is made up of 5 directors, a chief officer, the chief officers of the foundation, wherever it will have its chapters, and then the speakers of the parliament, wherever it will have its chapters. So on that note, from today we'll add Leonidus as a member of the board of directors. He is now a member of the board of directors as speaker of our Uganda chapter. So we'll add him as well. Legality. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, 12 April 2022, YIP registered, the Ghanaian chapter registered with the National Youth Authority of Ghana. The movement will equally be registered with the Registrar General Department of Ghana. In other countries, hopefully there will be no international restrictions on the registration. Since the movement is only one, it can only be registered at one particular country. But the parliamentary chapter, hopefully wherever our chapters are, they must register with the youth authority of their respective countries. Mr. Speaker, the movement has a constitution to regulate its operations, and the foundation is equally being provided for in the constitution of the movement. But the parliament has its own standing orders. So the Ghanaian chapter of the parliament will be passing its standing orders after 1 year of review on 20th of November 2022. So we'll be working on the standing orders for the Uganda chapter before the first parliament will be established. For now, we are in the pilot parliament. Finances. Mr. Speaker, as you know, this entire initiative is voluntary. Therefore, there is nothing like entitlement of allowances to any member. It is purely voluntary. However, from hot goes on, members can contribute in order to achieve the purpose and cut down the cost on the leaders or the vision bearers who will be leading the movement wherever they are. So dues can be paid if you reach there. But as of now, there is nothing like payment of dues. We all sacrifice to ensure that it happens. And one thing that this group can equally give you is publicity. And then it is important that as youths, we volunteer to serve our nation without looking forward to enumeration financially. So it is a good opportunity and people are watching us. For the Ghanaian chapter, members of the National Parliament are aware of this entire movement, and we have attention from office holders from the Republic and people elsewhere watching us all wide. So we have attention for sure, and having our Uganda branch would send a communication that we are not joking and we mean business. We mean business. Mr. Speaker, may I conclude? Mr. Speaker of the Uganda chapter of YIP, Mr. Deputy Speaker of the Uganda chapter of YIP, Deputy Executive Directors, Parliamentary and Humanitarian Affairs, honourable members, Youth Impact Movement has come to stay. And for it to stay statutorily, it's important that we do whatever we are doing with conscious ingratitude. I want to say thank you to Leonidus, the Speaker of Youth Impact Parliament Uganda, for his passion to promote the vision. I'm sure in his address he will talk about how we have gotten here. I'm hoping that he will speak about that. He is equally determined, and I want to officially thank you very much and congratulate you for you are paving the way to become a leader in Uganda that will be proud of, that you are material of Youth Impact Parliament Uganda chapter. Hopefully from your address we hear more about how we have gotten here, and your deputy speaker, of which I'm sure is equally competent, having stayed with us up to now, is a sign of his activism and commitment to duty. I want to thank you all as today our Uganda chapter becomes a reality. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our beloved Executive Director, for a full speech address. It is so touching, it's so inspirational. So I thank you in the name of the Youth Impact Parliament and before the members of the Youth Impact Parliament. I thank you for all that speech, which has been very well detailed and has actually explained the background of the Youth Impact Parliament all the way from Ghana now to Uganda. You see, it is a very big channel. It's a very strong channel. The fact that we are here today, although we are not physically meeting, we have happened to meet virtually. So all that chain, it is a strong one, and it is a promising one. So Mr. Director and the Deputy Executive Directors, plus all your cabinet, I also take the opportunity to again and again thank you for all that is being done. Now, to you, honorable members who are present, I don't know if I can explain this because it has been so challenging, the way it has come to be made, you know. So all that, it has been a long journey. So it is a long story, but I can try to cut it short. Like he has requested me to talk about how we have reached here today. So now, in details, but as I simplify, we had a Uganda National Youth Parliament. It had started as a WhatsApp group. So, as Ugandan youth, most of us, I can say, we lost self-esteem. I'm sure the honorable members of Parliament, of the Youth Impact Parliament, the ones that we have here, you know what is in Uganda as per now. As I can speak, it's not that maybe opposing the government, but you who are in the country, you know what is taking place. So the fact that this government of ours has taken wrong, so you find that the youth, they no longer have hopes in the government. So I can take it as the reason as to why the Uganda National Youth Parliament that we had started did not even graduate from a level to another. did not even take a step according to how we had planned it to take it, because we had each and everything. We had the objectives, we had the mission, the vision, all of those. In fact, we even had enough mobilization for the Ugandan youth parliament, but all failed. The fact that there were no hopes, there were no funding, no what. However much we had to volunteer, like the executive director has talked about it, but it was all in vain. Yeah, we tried convincing the youth, but they couldn't, as I can tell you. So now, anyway, leaving that one aside, the way how he got connected to these people, the Mr. Jones, the Executive Director, Youth Impact Parliament, Ghana, I think we happened to connect through Telegram, where I saw a link, and I also joined. Yet the fact that I loved the thing, I loved politics, I loved to discuss, I loved the nation, to see things changing in as far as development is concerned, I had to join. So in that long run, it's when I connected to the Youth Impact Parliament. I think by then it was Youth Impact Movement. Mr. Director, we will talk about that when time comes, but that's how I came to join. Like he has always told us and requested us to join, the movement or the parliament. They have sent a link, and when we try to cross-check in the group, there is that link which needs members to join through. You register each and everything. As long as you follow that link, you find each and everything inside there. Then you fill in the blank spaces, whereby they want the email address, whatever. You shall cross-check and see. To me, if I can recommend at the moment, I can see that where we are going now, we are going to a promise to Uganda, only that we have got limitations. I want to also talk about that. So, Mr. Director, you can know. Don't think that everything is easy to do here. I want you to know about that. It might be simple in Ghana, but not in Uganda. Only that what we have to do is to persist, so that we can see everything changing, of which I know it will take time, but as consistent, as persistent, as the youth, we have to make sure that we have to deal with that. And then I take the chance, I take the honor to thank all the members of the Youth Impact Parliament right away from Ghana, the headquarters, where the headquarters are, then to Uganda now. I can say we have officially started today. So I take that appreciation, I take that way of thanksgiving, as I can say. And I also thank the cabinet of the Youth Impact Parliament, led by the Executive Director, for having allowed this also to be conducted in Uganda, because it's not for everyone that will wish development from a country to another. Some people, they might be in need, or they might be of that envy to develop their own countries, but if then it exceeds from people's expectation now to another level, then those people are so loving. I thank the members who have allowed to join, the honorable members from Uganda, from all the constituencies that have been read up there. I thank them for not denying, because I know, actually, like the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Wasswa Kawuki, has been telling you that he didn't know much about all those. That man is not political, as we have always talked, but I know he's trying his level. Now that we are together, we shall make sure that we work hand in hand to let him understand each and everything. He's wise, actually he's wise enough. I know he will soon capture each and everything. What I want you to know is that the youth, the Ugandan youth who have joined, they shall be presenting the assembly with no doubt. They shall be representing their constituencies with no doubt, because their voices shall take the country, at least to some extent, to some step. First of all, we have so far made a relationship now. That connection, that coordination we have so far as the youth members of parliament, of the Youth Impact Parliament. There is that way how we've managed to make a difference, because now we didn't know each other, but now it is a strong relationship between Ugandan youth and the Ghanaian youth. So for that, I think the Ugandan youth who are now in the Youth Impact Parliament, they have fought for that, and if all goes well, everything shall be fine, and we would wish in the name of the Youth Impact Parliament, Ugandan chapter, we would wish to at one time physically meet with you people from Ghana. For that, Mr. Director will talk about it. So as I try to conclude, as the speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament elect, I want to emphasize that today I am mainly here to listen. I'm here to listen to the youth representatives from different constituencies who are here so far. However, it is virtually, but it is a special one. I intend to use my voice and the position to amplify the key issues that the appointed and the youth that have taken the oath of the leadership structure of this parliament I would actually emphasize them to make sure that they have done the relevance to their offices. I know we are missing some positions whereby the leader of the majority has not attended, the leader of minority has not attended, even the clerk himself, but I hope we shall one day get them in the next sitting maybe. And another thing, I wish that all the recordings should be shared with those people, because as I was talking to the leader of majority, he told me that he had a journey, he was traveling, he was on highway, and he had a journey for almost 6 to 7 hours. So by the way, I had forgotten to give all those apologies, because I have got two honorable members who are absent with apology. Mr. Ndugu Norbert, a member of parliament, Kashongi Constituency, and Mr. Physician from Kashali Constituency, that is in Mbarara district, a western part of Uganda. So all those people have given me their apologies. I think it's the reasons why they are not with us at the moment. Mr. Director, allow me to stop here my speech. Then we go to item 7, the statement on the youth impact YIF and Youth Impact Parliament, Ghana, by the Deputy Executive Directors. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. So we'll be taking a brief statement on the activities of the Youth Impact Foundation and the Youth Impact Parliament, the Ghanaian version, so that the Ugandan chapter can have the limelight of how things are done here. Apparently, I don't know how things are really like in Uganda, but I'm sure probably learning from each other, we'll be able to make a headway for how we want Africa to be at the end of the day. So we'll be looking at first at the parliament. So Mr. Speaker, kindly permit me to give a brief statement on the Youth Impact Parliament Ghanaian chapter.
You can go on.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, special guest and our colleagues from the Uganda chapter of Youth Impact Parliament. I count myself particularly privileged to be a member of Youth Impact Parliament. Ever since its establishment, Youth Impact Parliament had continued to challenge the imagination and aspirations of the youth in democracy. Honourable members, I can testify that Youth Impact Parliament is giving us a tremendous exposure in parliamentary proceedings and processes and capacity building in leadership. Mr. Speaker, Youth Impact Parliament was established to create opportunities for the youth in leadership roles like public speaking, parliamentary business, social norms, and leadership. Mr. Speaker, members from the Uganda chapter, there are several names and platforms that time will not permit me to unveil. However, with a few we know, there is no denial that Youth Impact Parliament is making a modest effort to produce leaders who will manage the affairs of our country and continent in the future. Mr. Speaker, looking at where Youth Impact Parliament started from and where it is today within 1.5 years, it is clear to me that Youth Impact Parliament has a lot of potentials at hand. Just within the first parliamentary year, Mr. Speaker, so I want the Uganda chapter to pay kind attention to how things were like in the first parliament. The Youth Impact Parliament has sat for no less than 10 parliamentary sittings as a physical sitting, one-on-one sitting, and had held not less than 10 virtual leadership seminars. So these leadership seminars are being done virtual, by which we invite members of parliament of the Ghanaian National Parliament, mayors or DCEs, district chief executives of the current government, and some prominent people and pastors and priests to share with us on topics that will build the capacity of the members within the parliament. So in the first parliament, we had 10 of that such leadership seminars. So including the people that we had member of parliament for one constituency in Ghana here, which is Akachi North, Honourable Peter Nochikote. He is the ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament. And he also serves as one of our patrons as far as Youth Impact Parliament Ghana is concerned. We had also had one youth activist by name Edem Agbana. Is one of the strong youth activists in Ghana here, and he has shared with us a lot of wisdom as far as the youth center and focus and development is concerned. Time may not permit me to mention all the names, but Mr. Speaker, I wish to proceed. I know and believe that Youth Impact Parliament will become a trending news and youth organization with attention from all relevant stakeholders. Very soon, official invitation will come from the public demanding for a representation from this youth parliament on statutory bodies of state agencies, invitations to speak on national televisions, radio stations. Every big institution starts small, and our big dream will not die but will become a reality. Mr. Speaker, at this pace and moral that youth in parliament is on, the future is clear. So it is been our focus in Ghana that at the end of the day, youth impact parliament should be able to have the focus such that we can be able to gain the national recognition that we want. Currently, the situation that we have in Africa, I don't know the situation in Uganda, but in Ghana, I've always been of the argument that we, the youth, are not the future leaders. I don't know whether any of you can concur with me. We, the youth, are not the future leaders in a way that we, the youth, are not possessing the future for ourselves, such that when we are being given opportunity to steer affairs of leadership at our youth level, we messed up. So what is the probability that when the entire country and its citizens and its resources are being handed over to us, we'll be able to manage it properly for the benefit of the people? And that is why Youth Impact Parliament's focus is to train youth in this kind of regard. Again, I don't know the situation in Uganda currently, but in Ghana, majority of our social norms are vanishing. Our cultural practices and our social norms, how we tend to do things in the past, are gradually diminishing from the society. And this is our focus that in as much as we are training youth, responsible youth for the future, we are also to make sure that we remind ourselves of the cultures and the social norms we have in our country. So I'm sure Youth Impact Parliament Uganda version can equally pick that up. And I'm sure you will have your beautiful culture. And as Africa as a whole, we have nice culture that we don't want it to diminish at the end of the day. Mr. Speaker, I want to take you through the composition of our second parliament. One challenge we had in the first parliament was that we didn't have constituency representation. So we did not have anybody representing a particular constituency. Everybody was everybody. So we didn't have a particular number of people or a particular number of MP in the first parliament. So those challenges were addressed in the second parliament by giving constituency representative to people who wish to represent a particular constituency in Ghana. So I'll take you through the composition of the second parliament. The second parliament currently is composing of 3 regions currently here in Ghana. Sorry, 4 regions. We have the Volta region, the Oti region, the Eastern region, and the Greater Accra region. So out of these 4 regions that we have representative from, we have 93 constituencies in total. So currently, the population of Youth Impact Parliament per constituency level is 93 MPs in the second parliament here in Ghana. So we have 18 MPs from the Volta region, 8 from the Oti region, 33 from the Eastern region, and 34 from the Greater Accra region. So the directorship in consultation with the appointment committee of the first parliament. So here in Youth Impact Parliament in Ghana, we operate the committee level, how it is being done in the National Space Parliament, how we operate the committee system we have. So the appointment committee of the first parliament, in consultation with the directorship of the movement, opened nominations for application. So the first batch of the application was opened on 1st July of this year, of which we had 40 applicants. They were vetted and they were designated to the 40 constituencies out of the 93 constituencies that we had wanted to give out. So remaining a total number of 53. So in the second batch, 53 applications were received on the 25th of August. They were also vetted and designated to 47 constituencies as at then, but now, which was remaining with 6 constituencies as at then. But now we have been able to open nominations once again, and all those 6 remaining constituencies have been redesignated to people who wish to join the parliament. So currently we have 93 youth MPs, of which 75 of them are males and then 18 of them are females. So the gender equality kind of is playing in the parliament here. And at the same way we have in the national space politics, Currently, we have 50 MPs forming the majority part of Parliament and 43 MPs forming the minority part of Parliament. We also have one disabled member, like one member with disability, of which we are happy that he has shown interest, so that gradually we will all build together. So, as I stated earlier, we had some few challenges in the first parliament, which was no constituency representative. So, probably currently in the Uganda version that you have, maybe you may have these few challenges as in the pilot stage and in the first parliament. We didn't have a certain number of MPs, of which we have 93 currently. The committee system that we were running in the first parliament was very dormant, of which it has been improved upon in the second parliament. We had poor attendance during sittings. So apparently sometimes we go total number of people who comes for sittings, sometimes like 5. But currently I can attest to the fact that because we have assigned constituencies to the various MPs, most often we have more than 20 people, including the speaker and then his clerks. We have more than 20 people at a particular sitting. And then we didn't have vote and proceedings and official report. So in the parliamentary language, vote and proceedings and official report basically we do with minute writing. It's an as when we go for meetings of this nature, the secretary or the clerk write minutes. In the first parliament, because the structures were not all that stable, the vote and proceedings and official report were not what's the name? Were not recorded. We only had virtual recordings, as in how we are having this particular meeting today, and it is being recorded and to be uploaded on Facebook and YouTube. So it is very, what's the name? How do I put it? Very important that we notice that. So we made some few recommendations as we were coming into, what's the name? The second parliament. We had find a way to improve upon the attendance of MPs, again, improve upon how the committee system works, and as well as improving upon record keeping by the clerk office. So at our last sitting, which was last month, the clerk presented to Parliament the minutes for the 2 previous sittings that we have had. So by so doing, we had a concrete record from the 2 sittings that we have had. Again, the committee system is working. Last week, myself, the standing order committee, of which director spoke about it some couple of minutes ago, that we will be working on the Uganda version of the standing orders. The standing order committee is a 9-member committee, of which I'm a member. The speaker is the chairperson, the clerk is a member, the minority leader is a member, the chief whips are members. So we discuss and make input to the standing order, how we want the proceedings in Youth Impact Parliament to work. And so I can say on record that the second parliament is making progress as far as the committee system is and also improvement of attendance of MPs. Currently, we see huge number of MPs mostly at our sittings, and it is very important. So let's look at some products of Youth Impact Parliament. How far we've come in Ghana, and I wish the Uganda version, as we start gradually, we will get there. We are all available here to assist the Uganda version to be how it want to be, probably take the lead ahead of the Ghana version, and that will be our focus. So currently, we always have active and consistently monthly plenary session, so that every month. So here in Ghana, the parliament meets physically once every month. Once every month. So our next sitting is coming on the 16th. On the 20th, sorry, on the 20th of November of this month. So we'll be holding our third sitting. Is it fourth or third? Fourth. Okay. Our 4th sitting, as far as the second parliament is concerned, we'll be holding our 4th sitting on the 20th of this particular month. So we'll be streaming live on Facebook. So I'm sure director will share the link so that you can join us, those who will be available as at that particular material time. Again, we have virtual leadership seminar at least once every month. So currently coming this Thursday, we will be having one leadership seminar with one of our patrons here in Ghana. He will be sharing with us his mind on a particular topic that we have given out to him. So I'm sure Director is working on the links, and when it is available, he will share it with the Uganda version so that you can join us, so that together we all learn collectively. In the same vein, if Youth Impact Parliament Uganda chapter is also holding the virtual leadership seminar, we equally participate so that together we can collectively learn and bring Africa up as we all want to be. Panel discussion among members. So the panel discussion among members is such that we meet, we discuss, and for that one, it is not, what's the name? How do I put it? It is not stream live. It is pre-recorded and uploaded later, so that we put out a topic. So the last time in Ghana, the last season we had, which was in October, the topic was Galamsey, the illegal mining that is happening in Ghana currently. We were of the argument that whose responsibility was it for it to be resolved? It was it government or the citizen? So members from the minority and the majority side gave very brilliant argument and suggestion how that particular mess that is happening in the country currently can be resolved. And it is very important, and it's nice. Gradually, people who one way or the other cannot speak in public are gaining the opportunity to learn for themselves how to bring up themselves. And in the same vein, who knows, some of us may not end what we are doing here. Me, for example, like this, I will not be ending what I'm doing here. Currently, I'm the youth MP for the Kampala Constituency in Ghana, currently. It is my hope that in the next 8 years, I should be able to build myself and go and contest for that particular seat and represent those group of people in Ghana's parliament. So what I'm learning here today will not be so different from what is happening in Ghana's parliament. Just that we don't have those financial muscles to do what they do, but it is still the learning process. Even if you don't go to parliament, at least if nothing at all, you've learned how to do certain things that on a normal day, it will not be taught in the classroom. So time with MPs. So time with MPs is such that MPs are being called, you give a brief history about yourself. It's like a one-on-one interview. You're asked a question, what do you wish for the future? How is it like? How is studies going? Your personal life and those stuff. It is also being pre-recorded and what's the name? So it's been recorded and uploaded. So we have time with MPs this particular Wednesday. So I'm sure director will work on it and then upload those videos onto social media handles. So we'll start time with MPs and then you see so that people can appreciate what we are doing. And then lectures at sittings by MPs. So currently, no MP has had lecture as kind of, but we have had lectures from some MPs. For example, the committee system that we operate in Ghana, in the Ghanaian parliament here, incidents that have been happening. So, for example, the committee on education, committee on culture and chieftaincy, committee on this, committee on that. Depending on the particular happening within the month, the chairpersons of all those committees are being charged to put up a report and present to Parliament and educate the members of Parliament how those things are happening and recommend how it will be resolved. Again, at all the sittings that we've had, one way or the other, we've been able to invite some members of Parliament and some former members of Parliament to educate us on certain happenings in Ghana. So, for example, at our second sitting for this second Parliament, we had one former MP for the whole Central Constituency, of which he is currently the special aide to the Speaker of Parliament for Ghana, Honourable Kofi. He was at our sitting to give us a brief history about how Parliament came about, the struggles in how Ghana's fourth Republican Constitution came about, and how our current Parliament was formed in 1992. It was very nice, and it gave all of us the limelight of how things, and even people appreciated it the more. And me, for example, it inspired me more that my 8 years agenda to be able to represent the good people of the Kampala Constituency should be able to come to light. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the Youth Empowered Parliament has a lot in stock for members, and they just need to present themselves in order to fully harness the bountiful opportunities in this house. And I say every now and then, Youth Empowered Parliament will grow. For the same way we have ECOWAS today, the same way we have the United Nations today, The same way we have African Union today, all these agencies and bodies started like the way, what's the name? Mr. Speaker in Uganda has gotten the spirit that, no, if nothing at all, I should start a group like this. Who knows that one day, Youth Impact Parliament Uganda version will be the topic of the day, where every youth want to join. Every youth want to be trained there, so that in the future we'll say that, oh, this particular member of parliament was trained by Youth Impact Parliament Uganda version. This particular minister was trained by Youth Impact Parliament Uganda version. This particular pastor, this particular lecturer, this particular teacher. When we do that, at the end of the day, the Africa we want to see, we will be able to see it. So that today in Ghana itself, we have been of the argument that things are not going well, and I'm sure it will be the same story in Uganda currently. Let us build ourselves and let us put the country and Africa where we want it to be. So, Mr. Speaker and honorable members present, I thank you all for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, the Deputy Executive Director, for your strong speech. Hope everyone is getting. Allow me now to take you to the next item. It could be item 8 on the statement of the Youth Impact Parliament Uganda by the Speaker of the Youth Impact Parliament Uganda chapter. But I gave out my speech. Actually, I gave it out after item 6. So I would like you to allow me to go to the next item.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I think we can hear from our Deputy Speaker. You have already given your own, but let's hear something from our Deputy Speaker before we proceed.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mr. Deputy Speaker, I think you can just tell us something small about how you see this entire initiative, where you think it will help to, and then benefits you think it will yield for you and us. Thank you.
So I don't know if has the Deputy Speaker left?
No, I'm actually around.
Okay, maybe you can take over.
Okay, thank you very much. Like the way Mr. Speaker told you, I'm not so political, but I think this is a very good initiative. I've liked whatever you guys have in plan and put in place in Ghana. It's really exciting to see how the youth can come together and come up with a thing like this that is helping them to be nurtured and also see things out of the box, like in the future, not look at the present. I think it is exciting. It's a very good initiative, and I am just happy and glad to be a part of it. Hopefully, I'll learn a lot from you guys and how you're doing things in Ghana over there. It's definitely a nice initiative. Well, in Uganda, we have a lot of challenges whereby the youth are currently discouraged, actually, to join politics. The people who are up there are not ready to give us position. They are not ready to give us a way through. So I think with this kind of thing, if it comes in here in Uganda and you guys help, I think it's very, 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 very fruitful and very helpful for us here in Uganda. And I think, of course, it has been very helpful for you guys in Ghana as well. I've heard you had your first sitting, and you had your second sitting as well. I'm up to now. I just don't know how you guys came up with this thing, and it's so organized the way it is, and everyone just joined in, and you're pushing this thing through. It's really a very good thing. Well, I thank you very much. I don't have a lot to say, but I am just excited at the same time, really speechless about how this initiative is going. I'm just hoping for the best here in Uganda, such that we can also be like you guys, at least on the same level. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Speaker. Please, you can take over.
Okay. Thank you very much, my deputy. I think, like you say that you're not political, you might not be naturally political, but academically I can see you're political. So thank you for your speech. Thank you for your arguments. Mr. Director, I would like you to allow me. I don't know. I would like to. Anyway, can you please give us some encouragement on how to deal with this? Should we continue with the next item, or we
yes, please. We go with item 9. So we have a short debate on item 9 before we adjourn the House.
Okay. Yes. So now, allow me to take you to the next item, item 9, the debate on motion for the Parliament sitting, Hope for Ugandan Youth. Mr. Director, may you please take over on this?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a debate. All of us will contribute. Deputy Speaker will contribute, and my Deputy Director. Mr. Speaker, I've been watching Uganda from afar for about, let's say, more than 6 months to 1 year now. I've been closely following Uganda from the top Mr. President, who has been there for a very lot of time, with the entire election that just happened with Bobi Wine, him kicking out Bobi Wine. I've been there seeing the old speaker, I've forgotten his name when he died, and then the deputy speaker became the new speaker. Forgotten the name of the old speaker, but the new speaker is Right Honourable Anita Annette Amon. I've been following Uganda Chief Justice. I've been just following on social media, looking at how things are happening. And although I'm not there, I do succumb to the fact that you do say that it looks like the old men do not want to give an opportunity. I've actually watched a documentary stating clearly about people who have been in power for a long time now and do not wish to go home. They should rather be in retirement right now. Or you may ask, why? Power is so sweet that when you have it, it corrupts you. That is a fact. Power corrupts people. It takes a man of great integrity to understand that you cannot be in power forever. To understand that there is a time limit, and when you are there for a very long time, the people get fed up with you. When you are there and you are the only one who can do it, it makes sense. But you cannot be there forever. Even the Queen of England, who we thought to be there for about 3 centuries, could only serve 70 years on the seat. But that is a monarchy. That is not a presidential democracy. That is a monarchical system over there. Having a prime minister over there, the prime minister is actually the highest political authority of the United States, where the monarch is a consistent ceremonial figure. The monarch does not participate in politics. So the monarchy, yes, Britain, that is how they have their culture. But in Uganda, there is no monarchy over there. So on what basis would the president continue serving forever until he dies? Does he want to make it look like the Mugabe system, where Mugabe became completely incapacitated to perform his duty because he wanted to die in power, and when the people could not stand it again, then they rose up with an uprising, forcing him to resign. He died there some few months away. Is that what we want to do? Well, for me, I don't want to be very political, but I must say that Museveni cannot be in power forever. He knows very well, whether he likes it or not, he cannot be in power forever. Death will surely take him away. If he wants to protect himself against death, he cannot live forever. So what happens? Is it like he's the only one who can be president? Well, apparently he has been able to capture the people in power whoever is there is afraid to speak against him, and due to that, it appears anyone who speaks against him, national security will come and capture and then all those. I don't know, that kind of state capture is so prominent in Africa. State capture is so prominent in Africa. When you go to Togo, Asiimwe has been there for a long time. Immediately after his father died, he ascended to the presidency and has captured all his political nemesis and has decapacitated them. Or he forgets that he surely died and he might not get a son to continue. But I think that is selfishness. That is selfishness to keep in power for a very, very long time. Being a ceremonial head, I think Africa, the problem Africa is happening is that they are unable to identify the difference between a monarchical system and a presidential system. The monarchical system, the entire state, the entire people have accepted a royal family as a ceremonial head of their nation. In that they contribute their taxes to maintain that family. What are the pros and cons of having a monarchical system? There is a consistent flow of government ideologies and continuity of national development, in the sense that there is a constant figure over there who ensures that regardless of the political leader, who is the prime minister, government construction goes on. That is the good thing about the monarchical system. And then because elections are not run every time, we save money. And then number two, there is a lot of pageantry and color in maintaining a monarchical system. That is it. Monarchical systems don't just stand anyhow. They don't just start anyhow. It mostly happens when a particular family is being accorded respect and the nation wishes to reward them as keeping them as monarchs of the country. In that way, everyone is happy with it. And what happens? They cannot have absolute monarchy. When it comes to the United States, United Arab Emirates, they have absolute monarchy in the sense that the crown prince or the president is the only one in power. And they have come to accept it because that is how they want it. It helps them, and that is why Dubai is growing. Yes, I understand. Yes, but it depends on the system that they are practicing. Now, coming back to the United Kingdom, there's a prime ministerial system of which they have two houses, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. The House of Commons is the one that institutes government policies on behalf of His Royal Majesty. Whatever they do must not exactly be in the ideology of His Royal Majesty, but it is done in the name of the Royal Majesty to ensure that there is consistency of a national ideology and agenda. So a prime minister does not have a stated tenure. However, every 4 years, elections are organized, and so far your party remains as the biggest party in parliament, you get to select the prime minister. However, when the prime minister is failing to perform and give hope to the people, the party itself pressures the prime minister to resign. That is how come we have had Liz Truss serving for as low as 45 days, Mr. Speaker. As low as 45 days. We have had a prime minister serving for as low as 45 days. We have equally had prime ministers such as Margaret serving for as much as 11 years, James Cameron serving for as much as 10 years, and then I've forgotten the name of the prime minister who first served Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who have equally served for about 12 to 15 years. So far as you keep on doing good and you are performing your good duty, the people are okay with you. But in Africa, when the person is performing so poorly, he doesn't want to leave power. That is complete selfishness. When you are doing well, the people have no problem maintaining you. They will allow you to do your constitutional terms. It is 4 years and one renewable. But right after that, regardless of how good you are, the system has been orchestrated in a way that you must go and let someone else do the job. So that is what happens in UK. That is what happens in UK. Now let's come to USA. You know very much that in USA, their structures are very strong. Their structures are very strong in the sense that regardless of whoever is there, business goes on. whoever is there, basically you don't have so much power because the structure is already fully in place and well organized that there is always something to do regardless of your poor leadership. You cannot come and ruin the growth at which United States of America is moving. That is why we have had presidents, let me say, I don't want to talk bad, presidents as business-minded as Donald Trump, serving as president. However, USA did not go down the throne. USA continued to perform. We had George Bush, his son, Bill Clinton, the first black president, Barack Obama, and then Donald Trump before the former vice president, now serving as president, Joe Biden. Regardless of whoever is there, it always goes on because their structures are working, their organs are working. But, Mr. Speaker, in Africa, our structures are not working on. Just a little use of military, all state structures, all state organizations are being captured and they are unable to perform their duty. In Ghana, our constitution has been programmed in the sense that our structures should be able to hold, but due to greed and then just a little of favoritism, people have lost their allegiance to the constitution and they want to serve the parochial interest of one particular citizen serving in a high office. Is that what we want in Africa? Let me state that Rwanda is doing very well. Paul Kagame, yes, has been there for a long time because of he has done very well and the people have accorded to maintain him. One problem with changing people without strong structures is that growth becomes thwarted, growth declines. When the structures are not good and there is a constant change of office holders, growth does not continue. When the structures are as strong as that of the United States of America, regardless of who comes, regardless of how poor you are, the job must go on. The job must go on. Africa, greed is becoming too much. The greed is becoming too much. Someone wants to stay in power so he dies, and the most annoying part is that he's not even doing well. The cost of living is rising. The standard of living is going bad, is going down. Health facilities are becoming bad. Education is dwindling. Transportation is going bad. Things are just becoming worse. He has not accepted responsibility to step down because of greed. That is our problem in Africa, and we must stop that. One thing I believe in is obvious votes or obvious choice. Yes, obvious choice. Obvious choice is when the people have accorded and have accepted that you are the guy for the job. They would assist you perform. But when the people, majority, are not happy with you, are not happy and are disappointed in you and want you out of power, that is the voice of the people, and you must accord. Because if you don't, even let me say, if you succeed in capturing all the powers, if you succeed in capturing all the state powers, Mr. Speaker, one day, you go. Because you can't stay forever.
Honourable,
yes.
May you please summarize?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, as a matter of fact, people keep on forgetting that people lose allegiance. That is why coup d'etat is happening so much in Africa. Because people keep on forgetting that the people are getting tired of you. I don't need to say this, but if His Excellency Museveni does not recognize that it is time for him to leave, to give hope for the youth, for Bobby Wine to take place, who is actually the hope of the youth, if I may so say, the future will not be good for him. If he doesn't want to leave and his story to be like Mugabe, he should rethink his existence and hopefully things will go well. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, our Executive Director, and at the same time, Honourable Jones, for your contribution on the hope for Ugandan youth. So to me, in Africa, I don't think there is hope for for change, hope for development, if we still have such leaders who sleep on power, they get drunk, such statements, they stay there for long. They don't want to mind about what the future generations are aiming to do. I think what we need to do is taking charge. Yeah, because we must within ourselves find solutions, since our leaders don't care about the next generations, but instead care about the next general elections. So in Africa, I think it will be hard if we still have such leaders, but still there is a hope for change. There is hope for development. If we can be, if we can have such associations, such organizations. Now, for instance, I can see that there is hope when we conduct such settings, we discuss. We have to make sure that at least we have got that mindset, a change within our mindsets, so that we can, at all time, by all means, make something different. Because after here, I know there is something we are going to spread all over among the youth. Only that for some countries in Africa, like Uganda, the youth are desperate, the youth are discouraged, due to vote buying, due to corruption, underemployment, all such stuff. So we must fight so hard to make sure that at least we've put something in place as the youth. That's why I can recommend and say that this association of us, this Youth Impact Parliament, has to play a very big role. Another thing, I think we need to have two hands at a time. We need to work hand in hand. We need to come together as one. We need to keep that heart of persistence. We need to emerge all together to fight all of these, because we've seen so many challenges. The youth, whoever comes to speak out the truth, you find that some people are shot dead. We have always got that challenge in Uganda, but obviously, what I know and what I believe in is that you can convince people for some time, but you cannot convince them for all the time. So there is still that hope that everything can be changed when people come together as one. So, Mr. Director, on the adjournment of the next parliamentary sitting, I would like you to guide us.
I think my deputy will want to contribute on the debate before the adjournment.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. The situation in Uganda is kind of bad. Maybe in Ghana we have some structures that are a bit flexible here. But one thing I say is that if the leaders don't want to give us the opportunity, let's create the opportunity for ourselves. And the opportunity, and I like the enthusiasm that you are coming up and want to form a group of this nature. Even with what we are having currently, what is the probability that when the current president fades away, whoever becomes the next president will not be as him? The only assurance that we can have that the said person will not be as him is that we all tune our minds that we want a better place. Do you know that the youths are performing worse than the leaders that we always point our hands to? Because currently, as we sit here, if we should conduct a survey from our student leadership to all the youth groups that we have, let's count the number of embezzlement of funds that have been done by youth within the leadership space. So that's why I've been of the argument that we are not the future leaders if we don't change our attitude and how we tend to do things going into the future. It will become very bad, such that whatever we see the current president doing, it may get worse when we don't change our attitude. In Ghana, for example, we have youths who are struggling and becoming and going up. And these politicians that we are fighting against them are their godfathers. are their role models. They are looking up to them. They are the ones giving them resources to be able to come up and build themselves. So if we don't take this opportunity that we have at our end very seriously, we will end up coming back to the same story that we're having currently, because those are the people who rise up through the ranks and get to leadership roles. As you have probably a president. We have our president here in Ghana. We have Paul Edison, Asiimwe in Togo, and when you look at all the northern West African countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, look at the way coup is happening all over in those places. It's because gradually the people are getting fed up of these people. Until when? And then the first presidents Africa had, like Lumumba, Nkrumah, and co. They had one kind of Africanism, nationalism, like they want development. They want their people to feel okay. So in the same vein, I always employ the youth of our time to have the same spirit and the same vein. Right now, every youth you meet currently and want him or her, you want to discuss of bringing up a thing of this nature, his focus is how do we get money at the end of the day. Money is now the focus. I can tell you on record that majority of people whom we started youth in parliament have stopped along the line because there's no allowance of any or anything of such nature that is will be paid to them. Probably there's no money, kind of something. I get it. So it is always becoming very difficult. And the African we want, if we the youth don't grab the future for ourselves as it's supposed to be, we are doomed. Because if, for example, Ghana is performing so well and Uganda is not performing, the whole Africa is not performing. Again, if Uganda is performing so well and Ghana is not performing, that is why on the eve of Ghana's independence, our first president, Nkrumah, he made a statement. He said, well, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. And that is why with him and Gaddafi, Lumumba and co were the founding fathers of the African Union that we have today, of which probably is not functioning as how we want it to function. So until we have a liberation such that all 52 African countries are all youth, you let me put the argument, all youth, are having the limelight and the same spirit such that we want development. In our own small way, like the way, Mr. Speaker, you started something small like this in Uganda. The commitment alone, when you're able to do it well, what is the probability that when the whole constituency is handed over to you, you will not be able to do it properly? Maybe, for example, in the next 5 years or next 8 years, who knows? Bobby Wine may win the elections. Who knows? He may win. Then this time around, he wants to involve youths in his government. Do you want the youth who are of themselves, who wants everything for themselves, or are the ones that have the country and the people at heart? And I'm sure your answer will be the youth that has the country and the people at heart. And it is going to be your type and your MPs that you have at your end. So that is why we in Ghana here, maybe our structures are a bit flexible. We have our leaders participating and helping us. But until we do something, I can tell you on record that until last year, January, we were not in contact with all the MPs that we were in contact with. All the DCs that we were in contact with, we were not in contact with them until this particular group came into existence. And then they began seeing how relevant and how urgent it is for youth capacity building. And I can say sometimes they support us financially to run some of our activities. They support us financially. Mr. Speaker can tell you all the ropes, the clerks all were being financed by our patrons. One DC district chief executive, and then one of the MPs. And then they continue to provide for us one way or the other assistance that on a normal day we are not going to get anywhere. Hadn't been that we formed this particular group, I'm not sure they will be able to come all of a sudden and look for that Jones or myself. Oh, take this money, go and do it until we started something for ourselves. So maybe it may look like, currently, it may be looking like a joke kind of something. And I'm telling you today, a lot of people far away want to join, but there is no seat for them currently where we have gotten to. And then they always restore. They are always calling for the expansion of parliament so that more members will be joined. So I'm telling you that today probably you have started with maybe 2 or 3 people, as we have started. Myself, Jones, and Honourable Elikem Agbo. We started so gradually. The number kept increasing. People were seeing even today, people still want to join. People are asking whether there are vacancies for them to join because they are beginning to see what we are doing. Training youth in leadership roles is not an easy task. And we want a Ghana, we want a Uganda that in the next 20 years, when the youth take over the helm of affairs, it will shock you that all what we are saying, when we get there, we will be the people to do the worst. Oh, yes, that one there, I can say it on record. All what we are saying, we will perform the worst if we don't train the youth to become responsible, if we don't train the youth to have the country and the people at heart, the nationalism, and how do I put it? The will to die for one country. Today, currently, if you ask me, will I die for Ghana? Oh, the answer may be no. And when I ask you, Mr. Speaker, currently, the answer may be no, because you don't see why you should die for Uganda. I may not see why I should die for, what's the name, Ghana currently. But in the future, will we want the youth who are coming after us to die for the country? If yes, then let us all begin to, and again, maybe you disagree with me on this, but I would like to conclude. Africans' problem, I'll state it currently, Africans' problem
Yes,
is not leadership.
2 minutes, Honorable colleague. Yes, 2 minutes, Honorable colleague.
I'll conclude soon. I'll conclude. Africans' problem is not leadership. You will disagree with me. I always say Africans' problem is followership. Followership, and no leadership. For example, in Ghana here, the president has declared that he wants to make the capital city of Ghana the cleanest city in the whole of Africa. He won't sweep. The president won't sweep. But it is you and I our responsibility to ensure that such that when we drink from our sachet water, we don't litter the city. We keep it in the bin. We are each other's keeper as far as once we all become bad followers, when we become leaders, we want good followers, and we'll have a crop of bad followers who will make our work very difficult for us in as much as we want to be good leaders. So it is very important that as we want to be good leaders in the future, let us put ourselves in the same spirit to be very good followers as well. So that when we become good leaders, we'll have good followers to follow us in order to be able to attain the goals and aspirations that we have for our countries and Ghana as a whole. So I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable colleague. I would wish us to conclude, but before, I don't know if there is any other speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker, do you have something to say? Honorable Wasswa.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, you guys really have some nice points, but I just want to say something very small. You guys have talked about youth being engaged, the political system in Uganda, how the political system in Uganda is not favoring the youth, and so many things. But I would like to say, to all the youth in Uganda, that we should remain politically focused. We should build strong networks and work towards gaining relevant skills that are significant to a meaningfully engaged society with political dominance. Like for example, if we start with something like this, the Youth Impact Program, I think it's a beautiful step towards this goal, whereby we are included in Uganda's political future. I think we shouldn't feel discouraged with what is happening. It is still too early, of course, to tell whether Uganda,
whether the efforts of the youth through the People Power movement, which is led by Bobby Wine, whether it is still very early to tell whether this movement is signifies the future or where we are going. I think it's still early, but I think all hope is not yet lost. Like while we are still targeted for this and that, we as the youth, especially when we try to engage in these political struggles, we should know that politics is a game to win, not to lose. Or it is a win or to lose. We can win or lose, but we should not be swayed by the state powers. I think this is very, very, very important. What we should do is to keep on fighting until we reach where we need to go. Well, those are just my points. Mr. Speaker, I think you can take on.
I also thank the Almighty God who has guided us, because it's not and it has not been for our own making, but we had a great man behind us who had a very big control for all that we have been doing. I think no any other thing I can call. I can call for the end of the today's sitting, as we share. By the way, before I would like you to share all the information all we've shared here to the members that have not been present. I think the best platform shall be the group, the platform of ours that we have. Then they shall make a very big meaning. So, Mr. Director, you shall help me, whether here or after here, to have those records together, so that I can also share there with some members here who are not with us on the platform, who are not with us in the parliament, so that they can get convinced in the way that they should also join us. I think if there is no any other thing, I officially call for the adjournment of today's sitting. I thank everyone for having taken time to be with us.
Yeah. Thank you very much.